These days, there are more suicides than many years ago. I don't say that. News and statistics say that. Anxiety is like the first stage of the panic attack. And when that anxiety is strong, it can become a panic attack. Suffering is a state of mind, while emotional pain comes from the soul. We all born programmed to go to pleasure and to avoid pain. With the situation in the world, the consciousness is telling us all that we need to start to feel, that we need to connect with our inner world, to put the mind at the service of the soul. Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mary Lopez. I'm an astral coach and an astrologer specialized in evolutionary and psychological astrology, a neuroprogrammer linguistic practitioner, and many other things that the universe made me study to improve my practice and to give the best of myself to others. I want to explain you the spiritual meaning of a panic attack or anxiety. Anxiety is like the first stage of the panic attack. And when that anxiety is strong, it can become a panic attack. And to get into the spiritual meaning of a panic attack and anxiety, we need to know about the big paradox that we all humans experience in life. That paradox is the paradox between pleasure and pain. We all born programmed to go to pleasure and to avoid pain. And that's the duality of the universe. As much as we polarize in one of the sides, we will go to the other one. The best point is to know that as much as I go to pleasure, more empty I'm going to feel, because both of them need to be embraced to generate an equilibrium. I need to embrace pleasure as much as I need to embrace the situation of pain in my life. And sooner or later, I'm going to have situation of pain in my life. Sooner or later, I'm going to experience how someone died in my life, or even the existential death of oneself. So pain needs to be embraced, because we not only grow through pleasure, we grow with all the experience in life, but the experience that make us grow the most and also make us experience pleasure in a different way, so our life becomes more pleasant and we can enjoy more every minute, is when we start to embrace pain. That doesn't kill you, make you stronger. And that's a reality. Somehow, humans, without knowing that, we are programmed to go to pleasure and avoid pain, somehow we are pushed to go through those situations. We can see it right now in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of pain, a lot of hatred, and we all need to take responsibility of our lives. At some point, many people is having anxiety or panic attacks, and that's why the suffering in the mind doesn't allow us to embrace the emotional pain that we need to embrace, to find our inner peace, to equilibrate more that paradox, the paradox between pain and pleasure. Suffering is a state of mind, while emotional pain comes from the soul. A person that lives in a state of suffering is a person that is dominated by the ego. We all have the ego, and we are on some level, we are embracing different kinds of suffering. When you learn how to suffer, you get out of suffering and you can embrace the emotional pain. But if you don't know how to suffer, if you don't know how to get out of that tricky business that the ego makes in the mind, you're going to stay in that state of suffering, and you're not going to embrace in reality that emotional pain that made you go through and connect more with a pleasant life, equilibrating that paradox, pain and pleasure. The suffering in the mind is only the resistance of the ego, blaming yourself, blaming others, judging yourself, judging others, with worry about you, about others, doubting about you or about others. It's all that the ego makes through our inner dialogue or monologue, because in reality it's a monologue. To have the control of your mind and stay in that state of suffering. Suffering is only a state of the mind, while emotional pain is an state of the soul. It's a fragment of the information, a shadow that needs to be integrated, a fragment of information that has been loose in the shadow. And our soul is saying, okay, now it's time for you to embrace this. But what happened? That emotion appears and the soul say, okay, it's time to embrace this. It's time to illuminate this shadow. It's time to embrace this pain, to go through it, not to stay on it. But the ego knows, and that emotion triggers all the suffering in the mind. The ego starts to make you believe that you're going to die if you embrace that pain, because the ego wants the control of the mind, and the ego feels like it's dying. The ego doesn't want to embrace vulnerability, because if you embrace vulnerability, if you embrace that you need to feel, you are disarming the ego. If you are entering of the levels of your essence. And when you enter in the level of your essence, you start to control your mind, because you observe, because you know who you are talking to yourself. When anxiety comes, regularly comes because I am in a situation that I feel that I had no escape. And it's the ego, the one that is feeling that, because something needs to be felt. And the ego doesn't want to feel it. The ego doesn't want to embrace vulnerability. So it's like our soul is calling, not the doors of our heart. And we don't listen to it. And as much as we don't listen, the resistance of the ego starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, creating this state of the body where you feel that you're going to die. And some people feel that they're going to have a heart attack. And how is triggered the anxiety and the panic attack? Well, always for an external situation that I projected from my own consciousness, of course. Human beings, we tend to take everything personal, but in reality, anything is personal. It's how you take it. So my couple, my child, my friend, my neighbor can trigger something through an action within me. And when I don't listen to that is happening within me, is when I am entering into the resistance of the ego, into no man's land, into a place where the ego lies to keep us so we can embrace that vulnerability, cannot embrace that emotion. So what you need to do when anxiety appears or a panic attack? Well, first of all, stop everything that you're doing. Everything. Anything is more important than your peace of mind or your health. Anything. And it's your health, because your mental health is connected with your body and your body with your mental health. So we need to have an equilibrium in that. First of all, stop everything that you're doing. Find a place where you can be, focusing yourself. Breathe. That's the most important thing. Breathe to come back to you. If you need it, put your hands in your heart and listen and say to yourself, I am listen. Don't listen to the mind. Don't listen to that monologue that the ego is creating so you don't embrace the vulnerability. Embrace the vulnerability. Listen to that emotion. And when I say listen, don't listen to the voice, because the only one that talks is the mind. The soul doesn't talk. Whisper through our body, through sensations, through the feeling. So listen whatever you need to feel. It could be frustration, could be wrath, could be anger, could be sadness. At the end of the day, it's a kind of pain that you need to embrace. And when you feel it and you continue with this breathing, feeling it with your eyes closed, or whatever you feel it better, but your body is going to ask you to close your eyes for sure. Feel it, accept it, receive it. And when you receive it with all your heart, make peace with that. You just need to feel it. If you need to scream, but don't scream to others. Scream, cry, whatever you need to do to feel that strong emotion. Listen to that. The feeling is going to tell you, your body is going to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. And when you listen to that, you're going to start to have silence in your mind because the ego is going to be quiet. At the beginning, it's going to start pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, so you resist to feel. But now, with the situation in the world, the consciousness is telling us all that we need to start to feel, that we need to connect with our inner world, to put the mind at the service of the soul. These days, there are more suicides than many years ago. I don't say that. News and statistics say that. So the only way we need to have clear that a panic attack, that anxiety comes for us to elevate our vibration so we can connect with higher frequencies, with higher vibratory frequencies that make us perceive our reality with less pain and suffering. And who doesn't want that? And the most amazing thing that happens when you embrace pain, when you start to listen to your emotions and put the mind at the service of the soul, is that you're going to enjoy life more. You're going to have more pleasure in your life because you're going to calibrate that. And pleasure is not going to be something out of meaning. It's going to be something with meaning too. But first, we need to find the meaning in pain that our soul is saying to us to find.